Last time on the Black Gate, I decided to go ahead and explore the cave north of Vesper. This cave links the Vesper area to the Minnock area, and vice versa. In the cave were many monsters which I took out with relative ease, and the very north of the cave was a magically locked door. Unlocking it with our magical spell, there was a dragon behind it. How it survived all this time it was in there, I have no idea, but we slew it with relative ease and found ourselves a nice magical piece of armor, a chest piece. We gave that to Yolo and traveled south. In the south of the cave was the site of a battle, which seems relatively recent. After looting the bodies, I traveled to the northwestern part of that room and we were transported to a separate part of the cave system. In the cave was a skeleton and a scroll detailing the fact that he was found trapped and starved to death in that room. That would have been the same fate for us if we didn't have many means of recall. So I got out of there, went back to Vesper, talked to Blorn, who I forgot to talk to in the last part because I couldn't find him for some reason, and then we traveled to Moonglow, the city of mages and the city of honesty. Main reason, of course, is to find Elizabeth and Abraham, and, surprise surprise, they were not even there. They went over to Terfin. Here we linked up with an old companion of ours named Mariah, but she's quite a bit kooky as well because the ether is all sorts of messed up. But other than that, we talked to a lot of townsfolk, and most importantly, we went to go talk to Nelson at the observatory, and he gave us an orrery so we can see the new event coming up in the future called the Astronomical Alignment, after we got the crystal from another NPC. There's also a bit of a side quest between Belena and Rankin. Belena believed that Rankin was embezzling funds or something like that from the Fellowship, and she wanted to put a stop to that or something, but she was considered to be ambitious and wanted to probably take over being the Fellowship branch leader over Rankin. We told Rankin that, and he said not to worry about it, but to deliver a vial of liquor to Belena. We did so, and it killed her. We told Rankin, and he feigned disbelief, or was just generally not knowing what happened. And then the part ended. And now we are done in the city of Moonglow, the city of mages, and the city of honesty. The last part was really long. This part will be more reasonable. I was just really determined to explore every line of dialogue and every word in the last part. But next we're going to go to Terfin, the city of gargoyles. Let's go back to the ship. There's some enemies here, what the heck? I was gonna skip ahead and everything. But these little gremlins, and they are gremlins, because they drop food. And you probably already know this if you've watched You Know Who's Ultima retrospectives, that gremlins are the one of the most annoying creatures in the Ultima games. Not this game, but in previous Ultima games, gremlins would steal food from your inventory, and you would not get it back. If they drain all your food, you'll basically take one step and die, which is admittedly pretty hilarious. We will give these to Spark, because he is low on food. He also has alcohol, that's okay. He's old enough to drink in this part of the Middle Ages. Back then they drank. Leaks. Alright, let's go back to the ship. I was wondering what that is. I don't think I ever saw that before. Here's the docks, and this is the city of Terfin. I think... Didn't really look too closely. This is the island, Serpent's Hold. Is right here, and there's something here as well, though I won't spoil it. This right here is the Isle of Spectrin. We have to go there in the future for the main quest. We gotta let Draxanusim, or any gargoyle here that Inimo died in part 1, we really put off coming here for a while. If you remember, a gargoyle at Castle British mentioned that we should go to Terfin as soon as possible to let the gargoyles know that Inimo passed away. Well, not just passed away, he was garroted into the wall. But first, I will talk to this gargoyle gentleman here. The gargoyle welcomes you by making a sweeping motion with his open hand. Name. To be named Betra. To be new to Terfin. I guess yes? To tell you to talk to Tyrgis, the sage or Forbrak, the tavern keeper, for information about town. To help with building locations and residents. Wasn't sure if we visited Terfin in the previous game. I assume we did, but it wasn't a gargoyle city then. Petra, to be the word for small valor. There's an interesting meaning. Terfin, to be the town set aside for us gargoyles who wish to reside in our own culture. Culture. To have many things unique to our race, other than our appearance, that distinguish us from humans. To be different, but also equal. Set aside. To have been put here by the humans, to be permitted to leave. And also to reside elsewhere. But to know that many humans do not like us, no they do not, dislike. To be very ironic to say that the only town with an equal number of humans and gargoyles is the one where most racial conflicts occur. We came from that city. Vesper, 2 parts ago. He shrugs. To have been unwise, perhaps, to put so many differences together. To be sad times. Job. To be the seller of provisions. What do you have for sale? Torch, oil flask, bag, shovel, powder keg, bucket, jar, jug, wing scratcher, a nail file, and horn polish. I don't think I bought the last 3, so we'll say nothing. To be acceptable. Goodbye. To wish you safe travels, human. There's his cot. I think we'll just go ahead and leave. That was Petra. Don't think we need to talk to him again. This is actually a pretty neat city. Brushed up on thy gargish. You're supposed to say that when we cross the, past the docks. YOLO. Let's go this way. Ah, this is obviously the tavern. So that means Tyrgis is the owner, or nearby rather. To greet you, human, the gargoyle says to Dupre, to ask how well the study is progressing. Why, 'tis progressing nicely, friend Forbrack. What study? Why, surely thou hast heard of the famous guides compiled for Brahmer? I have. I'll be tarred if there is one detailing various drinking establishments. Well, yes, sir, 'tis, something new. Now how about a drink? New? 'Tis about as new as my backside, mutters Shamino. That's very funny. A gargoyle tending bar lifts a tankard to you. Name? Oh, Forbrack. I misspoke. Tyrgis is somewhere else. To be Forbrack, what's that mean? To mean strong arm in the language of the gargoyles. Gargoyles. To know many of the residents in town, and some of the troubles. Residents. To know many gargoyles. To want to know about some of them? Yes, I do. To be sure you already know our leader. To wonder if you have met Tyrgis or the learning center head. To be more practical, you may need the provisioner, he nods his head. Well, we talked to him earlier, Petra. To be called Petra, to be one of 2 shopkeepers, to say the other is Sarpling. Sarpling. To know him little, and to have never been in his shop, and therefore to be unable to tell you what he sells. To know his name means snake tongue, that's a very seedy name. About Tyrgis. To be a sage, to be very well educated, like Quavin, to live here a long time. Learning center. To be a wonderful place to gain knowledge and exercise. To be managed by a gargoyle named Quavin, to be very educated, this Quavin. Also, to be wingless, like Salamo. Well, tell me about Salamo. To be the gardener who lives to the east of the mountains. And what sort of troubles are you talking about? To know of only 2. To see the conflict between the shrines and the fellowship. And to know the struggles of the wingless ones. Well, what are their struggles, the wingless versus winged? I mentioned this many parts ago, but wingless gargoyles are like the worker drones of the gargoyle race, and the winged ones are like the leaders and caretakers. Ultima VI, if I remember correctly, the wingless, they didn't talk at all. In this game they do talk. Only the winged talked. To watch wingless friends be discontented with their lot, to wonder why, but to never ask, to talk to the healer and the trainer, to expect they will have seen evidence if there is evidence to be seen. And who's the trainer? To be named Inforlim, to be very strong. What about healer? To be named Inmanilim. I barely got that the first time. Shrine versus fellowship, that's interesting. To believe there are disagreements between the old philosophy and the new. To expect no violence, but to ask you to seek the trainer and healer. To know they are observant and may have seen something. To also suggest you speak with the members of the fellowship, or just with members of the fellowship. And who are the members? To recommend you talk to their leader and their clerk. Well, who's the clerk? To be extremely violent, he shakes his head. To be named Runeb. That's kind of similar to Reuben if you change the it's an anagram a little bit. Not a little bit, it is an anagram, which means red mist. To be all that he leaves of a foe after combat. That's a better meaning than my name. My name literally means, behold, a son, leader. To be very friendly, to be called Quan. Reuben's not my real name, I mentioned this. It's close. You can probably guess what it is. Job. He gestures around the room with an open hand. To serve food and drink at the Hall of Refreshment. By. To desire what item? He's got jerky, flounder, ham, bread, cheese, grapes, milk, mead, ale, and wine. Nothing. To understand. Bye. To wish you well, human. Gargoyle race is a pretty cool race. I had in mind to talk about the story of Ultima VI, but I'll have to stop in my tracks and summarize, and that's going to take a long time. Especially with the way I sloppily explain things. Let's go up. This is definitely the trainer's hall here. He's using a big old two-handed sword. And I'll mention once again that I think it's disappointing we didn't get a Gargoyle companion in Ultima VII. The Gargoyle has a pleasant expression on his face, even while he's training. Impressive. To be known as Inforlim, what's that mean? To mean make, strong one, job. To train others in Terfin to be strong and powerful. To sell some weapons also. Conflicts. To know the conflicts between the altars and the Fellowship, but to have no information. To suggest you see Quan, Fellowship leader here, and ask him, alright, well, tell me about Terfin. To see there are troubles here, but to be unaware of the causes and solutions. Others. To tell you Voidbrand knows much about Terfin and its residents, and, he says, about its conflicts. Voidbrand. To be the tavern keeper. Yes, he is. How much does it cost to train with you? Not like we need to. To be a better warrior? Or mage? Warrior. To charge 50 gold for each training session. To be alright? No. To apologize, but I must charge that amount. What about mage? 50 gold as well. He also apologizes. Oh, we already chose that. Excuse me. Buy. To purchase what item? He's got throwing axe, two-handed axe, and a boomerang. He sells no swords even though he has swords in his shop and he's carrying a two-handed sword. That's it. To expect to see you again, human. We did choose job, right? Otherwise we wouldn't be able to access training. Yes, he did. Yes, we did. Let's go down here. I like how they sleep on cots. That's very Spartan-like. I will mention also that this video is going to come out Friday. I mean, obviously, so I do plan on streaming Suikoden 1 Remaster again Saturday and Sunday. I was going to do it Wednesday, I think. I was thinking about it, I mean. But I had to do an appointment to go to, and I felt pretty tired that day, so I didn't do it. Let's go in here, and that's definitely the healer. We had to talk to the trainer and the healer. We'll talk to him. Too nice a day for these to be shut, he says. Let's talk to him before he opens the window. You're greeted by a friendly gargoyle. Name. To be called Enmanalim, human. To wish information about Terfin? What does Enmanalim mean? To be gargoyle for make, healed one. Information. To tell you to seek out Draxinusum, human, or Voidbrand. To have much information about Terfin. Messed up that tone a little bit. Tell me about good old Draxi. To be our leader. To live near the Hall of Knowledge. And where's that? To be where the three altars of singularity are kept. Excuse me. I know I can't remember too much about the gargoyles have their own religion. One of them is singularity, or it's like that's like the whole thing. They have their own virtues basically. I will rebrush myself on it as we play this. Altars. There we go. Those are their virtues. Passion, control, and diligence. Messed that up last time. To be passion, control, and diligence, excuse me. To be the values that most gargoyles hold as the key of our existence. Most gargoyles, you say? There is a rival now, the Fellowship. To know not if it is good or bad, but to know I do not follow it. Well, Fellowship do not like healers. In Britannia. Key. He nods his head emphatically. To be quite similar to the human concept of virtues. Well, tell me about Terfin. To be the city of gargoyles, to be the one of two towns where many gargoyles live, To like it here, he adds, smiling. Forbrak, to be the tavern keeper, to be very strong of body and of mind, 1. To tell you the other is called Vesper, we were there 2 parts ago. To be in the desert in northeastern Britannia, to have also humans living there, unlike here. And job, to be the healer. Heal? You can do all that. No, to be here later if you need me. We already chose that. Oh, we didn't choose that. Let's do that again. Conflicts, to know only of one dissatisfied gargoyle, to have always been problem, but now acting hostile and aggressive. To be named Silimo the gardener. To recommend you talk to Silimo. Goodbye. To wish you good health, human. Our health is pretty good. In fact, we are the highest healthed person in Britannia. 60 hit points, my goodness. And we didn't level up, right? No, we didn't. Got a little bit of experience, I think, back on Moonglow. Really cool city. Moonglow and Jellum I like very much, especially in Ultima Online. If you played Ultima 9, though, or watched my stream of it, the towns in that game look so drastically different that it's actually unimmersive. Like, Trinsic looks like it's from, like, a wholly different culture. I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. Let's go this way. This is obviously the Fellowship Hall. And I gotta find out where Drax and Newsom is. Let's go back over here. I think I missed a house. He's nearby, I think. I can't really remember. Over here? I think this is we came from there. Here we go. I think memory's a little fuzzy. There's your good old sea shanty song again. Alright, who's here? We got a wingless gargoyle here. We'll talk to him. The gargoyle, contented grin on his face, greets you with a handshake. Name. To be known as Quaven, human. Note the fellowship medallion on his, forehead. Quaven. To mean problem finder. To be an observant one. I can tell him about the fellowship. To want to know about the organization or the tenants. Well, tell me about the organization. To be a group of spiritual seekers striving to reach the highest levels of gargoyle potential. To share with all gargoyles and humans. Share. To share tenets and material well-being. What material well-being? To support financially and personally a poorhouse and pause. To organize feasts and festivals in Britannia to help morale. To be a much-needed group by all gargoyles and men. To have needed the fellowship myself. Why's that? To have had poor life before the fellowship. To have been pained, ignored, and mistreated by many. To be happy now in my new life, and to hope to hear the voice soon. His eyes widen in excitement. I guess they glowed? He doesn't have eyeballs. He's got sockets and glowing things, pupils. To be bringing happiness to another's life soon. Another. He continues on excitedly. To be working on my first convert. To know the joy and well-being I will bring. To feel content and happy. Who's the convert? To be Betra, the provisioner. To feel confident he will join soon. Working. To need a little more persuasion, he looks down. But to be almost ready to join. What about the voice? To be a good voice that will help me make choices to help win on Buccaneer's Den. Ah, doing this for money, eh? I don't blame you. Tenets. To apply an optimistic order of thought through the triad of inner strength. Tell me about that, I guess. To be the 3 concepts of strive for unity, trust your brother, and worthiness precedes reward. Do we choose this? No, we didn't. To be master of the recreation facility and learning center. To be in charge of much information valuable to the gargoyle race. Recreation facility. To be a good place for gargoyles to go to exercise their muscles. To have many resources available, including stuffed bags to punch and practice fighting skills. Learning center. To be located in the same building as the recreation center. To provide an excellent atmosphere for strengthening gargoyle minds. To have a large supply of books and educational material. 5. To hope for your well-being and happiness. Anything up here? That's just his bedroom. What about in here? This is quite the music to choose for the learning center. Encyclopedia Britannia. We got same thing. Brahmer's Flora. That talks about the Reaper enemies. I don't think we read that. Brahmer's Flora by Brahmer. And Brahmer is who Dupre is doing the tavern stuff for, the drinks. This large tome describes most of common plants indigenous to Britannia. The Greer plant is especially fascinating, where it spends most of its life huddled with its leaves wrappered up in a tight ball. However, every so often, the leaves will unfurl, radiating out from the stem. The Reaper is unique in that it is both plant and animal. Resembling a large tree, the Reaper is capable of self-animation as well as self-locomotion. Reapers have been known to attack those who cause harm to their home, i.e. the forests, but seldom reveal themselves otherwise. That's not true, we walk past when they attack automatically. Also, Underworld 2 had a Reaper at like the bottom of the sewers, which I found to be kind of funny. That's the map of Britannia there. Encyclopedia, and that as well. And that is it. Let's go ahead and leave and try to find Draxanusim and get Yana out of that room as well. Those of you who play this, do you play with a full party? Party of 8? I always found that a little annoying. I remember now. He's over here, I believe. The music stopped, thank goodness. Here he is. This is Draxanusim. If you click on him, we already know who he is, which I think is a nice little detail. If you played previous Ultima games, then the avatar would know, just like you would know, who these characters are. You see an aged gargoyle, bent and withered, with a regal bearing. He smiles gently. Name. It's been many years. To be your old acquaintance, Reuben, Draxanusim. I was just testing out your, how old you are. Job. I also chose that by muscle memory. To ask about job. To be unable to say that I truly have one at this time. To notice how the young ones no longer look to me for guidance anymore. To look more to Tyrgis, or more often to those in the Fellowship. What do you know about the Fellowship? To know not what to think of them and their tenets. To seem not dangerous, but not to be following the old ways. The ways of passion, diligence, and control. To feign worship to the shrines here in Terfin, of course, especially to control, but not yet to trust them. To wait and see. To have forceful leaders who espouse doctrines of submission, he shrugs. To be genuinely inspired, perhaps, and perhaps not. Who's Tyrgis? To be truly a fine young gargoyle. To be one of the most sensible, too. To have seen fit to adhere to the old ways, the ways of the altars. To see that some of the youngest still look up to him, but the majority seem to have been wooed away by the glamour of the Fellowship. To tell you that his weanling Inimo is intrinsic at this time. About him. To be a fine young gargoyle. To have been raised by Tyrgis, keeper of the altars. To have left town because of the tension between the altar worshippers and the Fellowship. To have been angry and distrustful of the Fellowship. To have news of him? Yes. To be excellent. To have seen him. To know how he is faring. To be well. Well, he has been not well. To be a shame. To be taking the news to Tyrgis of his youngling. To be wondering why we had not heard from Inimo recently. I should have. I want to see what he says. I should have said he was murdered. We'll go through this. Terfin. To be quite comfortable for our needs. To be, however, unfortunate that it was thought necessary to isolate us from the humans. To have engendered resentment and tension in our younger generations. To remember not the old days, my friend. The days when we had to work together to survive. He smiles, reliving old memories, then shakes his head. To have had to give up many much when we moved. Give up? To have been many favorite possessions. To be too much trouble to move so much, he sighs. Leaders. To inform you that the Fellowship is directed by 2 winged brethren. To be called Runib and Quan. We can talk about Runib. To mean in your language, red mist. To have been given that name because that is all he leaves behind of an adversary in battle. Before his conversion by the Fellowship, to have been known as a particularly cruel and dangerous gargoyle. What about Quan? To be an interesting one. To be a strong, powerful personality. To be from one of the families most able to claim noble lineage in our society. To have been always most self-serving, striving only to gain status and wealth for himself. To have certainly changed his tune since joining the Fellowship. To have my doubts, however, that his goals have changed as well. See if we can get that again. Fellowship. Tyrgus. I may not be able to get this again. Let's go do that. Click out of that, and I think... Alright, let's do that dialogue conversation again. No, it's a little weird of me doing this, but I had no idea that would be locked out. Of all the dialogue to get locked out like that when we had a loop dialogue back with Rankin and Belena, this one you can't see again. Go through all this. Alright, here we go, Inamo. We have news. He's been murdered. To be terrible news. To have been such a fine gargoyle. To know Tyrgus will be heartbroken. To be wishing not for him to grieve, but to take to him the news immediately. To better hear it from you. We'll go through all this just to lock in our dialogue, I guess. Just to say that we did it, because I had to reload. Okay, Tyrgus, Fellowship. We chose job, right? I'll go through all that again. No big deal. Just in case it triggers something later on. Give up, and bye. Bye-bye. To bid farewell, old friend, to not be hesitating to return if there is aught else I can do for you. To be lonely here now for an old gargoyle dedicated to the ancient ways. Got a book. Thy message received by Forlam. We read this already. Well, I didn't read it, I put it down. We'll ignore that, and close that. And go up here. That's a cool statue. That's a gargoyle statue. They weren't enemies you could talk to in Ultima IV. They were called Barons back then, I believe. That says something. Interesting how it's in runes, not in gargoyle alphabet. They have their own alphabet, the gargoyles. Anybody in here? Answer is no.
Go away!
Wonder what the Guardian's doing. Maybe he's watching an episode of Rocko's Modern Life or something like that. Who knows? Let's go over here. I think Tyrgus is in this direction. I'll just leave these open. Another cool statue there. So if I remember correctly now, it's coming back to me. Control, passion, and diligence, which is wrapped up in singularity, are their virtues. You learned about in the sixth game. Instead of creating your own virtues in Ultima IV, you learned about another culture's virtues who you thought were your enemies. There he is. How you doing? Let's talk to him. You see a winged gargoyle in his physical prime. Hail, human, to be welcome to the House of the Altars. To be helpful to you in any way? Name. To be called Tyrgus. We'll choose this last. We're going to go through his other dialogue here. Job. To be caring for the altars of control, passion, and diligence. To be a position of great responsibility. To be especially important in these times of trouble. Trouble. To have been many disagreements in town of lately. To be much tension between the followers of the principles of the altars and the followers of the fellowship. To have heard rumors of threats to the altars. Rumors? To have heard that someone in town is planning to destroy the physical representations of the altars. To be not the same, of course, as actually destroying the basic principles of control, passion, and diligence, but to be bad for us nonetheless. To be finding out for us who is planning this if there is time, perhaps. To return to me with evidence when you determine course of action. To be very grateful for your assistance. Tell me about the altars. To be caretaker and group leader for the altars of the three principles. To wish to make a donation, excuse me? Sure. Excellent. To which altar do you wish to donate? We can do control, passion, or diligence. I think I will choose diligence. To be an excellent choice. To meditate at the shrine for you for a donation of 5 gold. To be willing to donate 5 gold? Sure. To meditate for you this evening, human. To wish you well in your journeys. And what about the fellowship? To beware of fellowship ideals, to be ignoring the altars in their search for unity, and to be losing respect for the old ways. To be not bad. To tell you our branch is run by Quan and Runib. Runib. To have been a sad case, to have wished have been able to save him. To always have been uncontrollable, but to have gotten worse in the last few years. To have seemed to want to start as many fights as possible. To have found a reason for using his strength against all those weaker when to have joined the fellowship. Well, it sounds like the Fellowship's a bad influence, eh? Quan. To be said to have lost Quan to the Fellowship, human. To have been a good gargoyle when young, but to have fallen to bad company later. To have concentrated mostly on self-aggrandizement and hedonism in the last few years. To be a shame. And last but not least, we have news of Inimo. He smiles sadly, but with obvious pride. To miss him greatly. To have raised him from an egg. To have been rather vocal in his disagreements with the Fellowship. To have felt it safer for him to leave. He sighs, then he looks up, hopefully. To have news of him? Yes. To be well. No. To be not well? To be terrible. To think there is anything to do to help? It's too late. To be too late? To mean what by too late? To tell me what has happened? He seems very distraught. He has been murdered, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say. To be murdered? He takes a step back, stunned by the news. To be murdered? To be unbelievable. To have no real enemies. He sighs heavily. Tell me, please, exactly what happened. You relate to him the particulars of Inimo's death. He sighs again. To be such a waste of gargoyle life. To be grateful if you would send news if you discover who was responsible for wanting him dead. He is quiet for a few moments, getting accustomed to the situation. To apologize, to need some time to grieve. Please to come back later. He turns away, and the conversation ends. So, Inimo, we just found out, has had problems with the Fellowship. That's, I'm going to say that's a clue, but that kind of reveals things on its own. Let's go into his room again. There's a book here I forgot to read, I think. Gargoyle Like Me. Did we read this? I don't think we did, by Derek. Within this work lies a fascinating novel of a human who poses as a gargoyle to view what life is like from the gargoyle's point of view. The story is a remarkable mix of historical and entertaining facts from encounters with many gargoyles. A particular emphasis of the work is the importance of the gargoyle family structure. As there is no evidence of gargoyles having a gender, it is odd how close father gargoyles maintain a relationship with their presumably adopted sons. The attitudes seems similar to that of how the more intelligent, winged gargoyles treat the wingless. There's an air of condescension, but the feelings of care still exist, as if the wingless were children as if the wingless were children to be protect and watched over by the winged. That's it. We're going to leave the shrine to the altars. Or actually, let's not leave just yet. I forgot about these books here. I've been walking past them and ignoring them. Book of Prophecy by Naxatilor the Seer. An ancient prophecy tells of the final days, when the end of our world shall come. 3 signs will precede the end. Thrice shall a being of great evil come into our land, and by this it shall be known that the end is nigh. This evil one is of another race, who consider the evil one a great prophet. Yet this false prophet follows not the principles of control, passion, and diligence. One day, the false prophet will come and desecrate our most holy shrine, and the false prophet will steal our most holy artifact, the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom. This shall be the first sign of the end. Then, it is written, the false prophet shall descend deep into the bowels of the earth, and the false prophet will cause the underworld to collapse. This will cause great earthquakes to tear our world asunder, and there will be a time of plague and famine. This shall be the second sign of the end. One last time shall the prophet come. This time, the false prophet will come with a band of warriors, and they will destroy all that remains of the gargoyle race. There is only one way that this prophecy may be averted, that is by the sacrifice of the false prophet, and that false prophet is the Avatar. And we fixed that. Well, he fixed that, rather. I don't think I plan on playing Ultima VI on here. By bringing peace between the gargoyles, by sending the Codex into the void, and giving the red lens to the gargoyles and the blue lens to the Britannians so they can view the Codex. That was how they cemented peace between each other. Book of Forgotten Mantras, and there's all the mantras. I like this one. Mao, like meow. More here if you want to look at that, and that's it. And I believe those are all the books. I think. If not, then I missed them. Anything up here? Oh, just another statue that we didn't see. statue of something. And we'll leave. We gotta talk to a few more gargoyles and do that little side quest. Did we get any experience? No, for informing that Inimo passed away. I guess we'll talk to the Fellowship branch leader and finally ask... I like how he's carrying the staff right there. That's cute. Ask where Elizabeth and Abraham are. You see a winged gargoyle. Noticing you, he turns and says, "To be welcome, human. Do you need assistance? Name? To be named... To be the one named Quan. What's Quan mean? To have no meaning in Gargish. To be a special name. Specific to me," he smiles. "Did you choose that or the Fellowship choose it for you? That's important. If they chose it for you, they are trying to erode your religion, just like they're trying to erode the virtues. Or overturn all that, rather, and be the dominant cult on this planet. Well, we're here about Elizabeth and Abraham. Do you know where they are? To have just missed the human Fellowship officials who were here, collecting funds. To have left for the meditation retreat near Serpent's Hold. To be sorry. Okay, tell me about the Fellowship then. To be a boon to gargoyles and humans alike. To have a philosophy to help all creatures of all races reach their highest level of potential. Philosophy? An almost gleeful expression fills his visage. To be very similar to the Altar of Singularity. To have 3 principles called the Triad of Inner Strength. To apply 3 principles in unison to be more creative and happy. To see the similarity. To have control, passion, and diligence mesh into one, singularity. To have triad, strive for unity, trust your brother, and worthiness precedes reward, applied in unison. Well, what about the altar conflicts that I heard about? To understand not, he says, puzzled. Altar destruction? To know nothing of this, to believe it not, to be not possible. To know that all members are content with their lives, and incapable of such acts, even if the altars be outdated. To tell you to speak with members and themselves, and to see and believe, Well, who are the members? To talk to Runib, Sarpling, and Quavin. And where is Quavin? To be in charge of the learning center. Sarpling? To sell magics and such at his shop. And Runib. To be the clerk of the Fellowship here. And outdated? To need the triad for a proper application to the individual gargoyle, or person. Okay, we're not done yet. Job. I know this time that I didn't choose this. To head the Fellowship in Terfin. Terfin. To be the only gargoyle city in Britannia. To have fewer gargoyles in the land than during your last visit to Britannia, human. He shakes his head. Gargoyles. To suggest talking to Runib, the Fellowship clerk, or Quavin. To have jobs needing knowledge of others in Terfin. He grins apologetically. To be too busy to know all in Terfin. Fewer. To have succumbed to the effects of disease and famine that has recently struck Britannia. To tell you that gargoyles breed less frequently, and we have not had the time to make up for losses in our population. To have new hope, however, he grins, with the Fellowship. Bye. To hope you find unity. It's been 40 minutes already, and like the last part, I'm going to play until we're done here in Terfin. So Elizabeth and Abraham went to the meditation retreat, and I guess I'll just go ahead and say, the meditation retreat, as he says, is near Serpent's Hold. It's right here. Let's see if we can find him there in the future. In the next part, rather. The gargoyle gives you a menacing glare. Judging by his size, he would make a formidable foe. Well, all the winged gargoyles are pretty big. Name. To be Runib. Runib? To mean busy one, he says sarcastically. That's not what we heard. Apparently it means red mist. And it means a really cruel thing. Fellowship? To have more important things to do now. To ask me later, human. About job. To be Fellowship clerk. Bye. He waits for you to leave before he returns to what he was doing. He is not very friendly, but what do you expect from someone named Red Mist, who leaves a red mist behind in battle? I like that music. That music never gets old to listen to. Despite my problems with some of the social commentary in this game that I became aware of many years ago, I still love this game. I just try to see it within the confines of the story and ignore the writer's intentions and all that, but that's neither here nor there. Well, that is here and there. Oh, this is obviously the magic shop. I like how all this is organized. That really satisfies my my OCD. You see a very distraught gargoyle who is a member of the Fellowship. This must be Quavin. Name? No, he's Sarpling. Never mind. To be able to call me Sarpling. Fellowship? To be an important part of my life, to support the Fellowship fully. What's your job? To provide various magics and items in Terfin. What can you tell me about Terfin? To be the city in which you are located. To be the city of gargoyles. And you do know you don't have to choose any of these if you know. I just like to anyways. Gargoyles. To know Quan is the Fellowship leader. To believe he gives good guidance. He appears thoughtful. To have spoken to Draxinusum? Yes. To see Forbrak or Quavin, then. To know they see all the citizens regularly. We met Forbrak. I don't think we met Quavin yet. Bye. To want reagents or jewelry and potions? Reagents. Didn't mean to click that one, but ginseng is 1 gold. Just gonna look at the prices here. Blood moss is 2. Garlic is also 1. And sulfurous ash is also 3 gold. I think it might be cheaper to buy these reagents here. Oops, didn't mean to choose that. I'll buy 1. Blood moss, garlic, ginseng, and sulfurous ash. Maybe it's cheaper to buy here. I guess we'll see the prices in the future. I should probably write that down, but I'm lazy. What about jewelry and potions? To want to buy what item? He's got gold horn caps, gold chain, gold earring, gold claw ring, and black potion and white potion. No thank you. To be acceptable, he says. Altar conflicts. To know nothing about the altars, to wonder what you mean. Bye. To give you farewell, human. And I think we got 2 more gargoyles to talk to, which might even end in less than an hour. That last part was really long, wasn't it? It was actually close to 2 hours before I started editing it and cutting stuff out. Basically cutting out dead air and backtracking and such. Because Moonglow in Ultima VII is very big. It takes a long time to traverse from one side to the other. You can see the reference right there. But a pretty cool city. I like that city. I chose that city a lot when I created a character in Ultima Online. In Ultima Online, the city you start in is kind of considered where you were born. And I either chose Jelim or Moonglow. Moonglow is where the hangout always was for our players. We can't open this, but can we pick it? Yes, we can. And there's nothing inside. Just garbage. It's closed for a reason. Oh well, let's close that. And also, funnily enough, your lockpicks don't get consumed when you use it. That's the same right there. You know, this makes sense. It wouldn't get consumed in real life. Speaking of which, I've always had this thought to learn how to lockpick in real life. Not like it's probably a useful skill, but some states it's illegal to have it on your person or something like that. I think maybe in your car, states are different with laws, but let's get back to the game. He's got a long neck. You see a frowning gargoyle. This is probably Quavin. Name? No, it's Silamo. To be named Silamo. What's that mean? To know my name if I were winged, he scowls at you. Wingless hold on. Let's choose job first. To be the gardener, he shrugs. Nothing more. He does not seem to be interested in speaking with you. Wingless status. He stares at you for a moment. To be right, human. To feel I am treated less for an absence of wings. To see Quavin treated better since joining the Fellowship. To be devoted to the altar of singularity. But perhaps to change if the Fellowship cares not about wings. Quavin. To be also without wings, but to be respected as if he were winged. Treated. To see many others include him in many events from which I am excluded. To know others include him in many more decision-making councils too. What sort of others? Gargoyles in the Fellowship. And, job? The gardener, nothing more. Yeah, you chose that already. Bye. To get back to work. Leave him be, and I think the next gargoyle is up here. Ah, that music. I love that music. Yep, this is definitely... Oh, beautiful. Beautiful flowers. Anything in the... More flowers in there. Maybe we should get a flower to decorate our home back at the Castle of Fire. I'm not going to take any from him. Close that. It's an old game, so these doors don't close automatically. It's not necessary, but if things add to the immersion, I will do it as long as it's not too tedious. I streamed Fallout 1 and 2 about a year or two ago on this for this channel from Twitch, and my habit of closing doors behind me is destroyed because it's really annoying to do in that game, so I just leave them open. I do remember one time I played Oblivion when that launched, and I closed doors behind me all the time. Towards the end of the game, the very end of the game rather, the last quest, last of the main quest, I closed the door behind me, and the counselor, Odano, the high elf, I forget his name, I closed the door, and he couldn't even enter, and the script just hung, because they didn't code the NPC to open the door that you closed, which is pretty funny. But I don't see Quavin anywhere. We are currently right here. Let's do a little bit of exploration. Got a good 14 minutes left, but I'm going to keep going until this part is over. I don't think there's any caves either. And it's still kind of worth it to hug, like, the mountain walls, like hugging a wall in a cave in a dungeon. Because there may be a secret path. You just never know. There is one nearby, and I think I will explore that in the next part before we go to the meditation retreat. Or we'll go to the meditation retreat first, and then see about doing a bit of exploration. I guess we'll go back to the main town. I don't know where Quavin is, I forget. This isn't it, we opened that door there. We'll just follow the trail. Maybe going south? Is there a southern trail? No, because we're near the ocean. Now, one of the gargoyles said Terfin is not very homely or homey back at Castle British, but it seems rather comfortable to me. All the towns in this game are. Which brings to mind, you know how this game world is very small? It's funny too, because Skyrim came out in 2011. Long time after this game. Different games, kind of. They're both open world. But, was this gargoyle here named Quavin? But Skyrim had a big world, or a big country, Skyrim. But small towns. The world is small, but the towns are bigger than Skyrim, but still kind of small. But Britain is like bigger than all of Whiterun. It's kind of funny. Very, very advanced game on this game. We already talked to... Where is Quavin? I forget where he is. Let's go back down. Did we already talk to him? Because I forgot. Just have no memory for faces. This is for Betra here. Quavin. He smiles at the mention of the name. To be a likable young gargoyle. Did he join the Fellowship? To join the Fellowship? He shakes his head. To be an organization not for me. To be quite happy as I am, devoted to the altars. To believe Quavin to have been misled by the others in the Fellowship. To not trust them. Especially Sarpling. Misled? To believe that there is deceit from the Fellowship. That's also the name of the dungeon in this game. In Ultima in general. And to expect that is not what it appears. To believe promises of happiness made when Quavin first joined came true from... Wait. To believe promises of happiness made when Quavin first joined came true from Quavin himself and not the Fellowship. My goodness. I got a little confused there. Sarpling. To trust him as far as I could throw him, and to certainly throw him as far as I could. Altars. To have heard rumors about destroying the altars. To be upset, but to have no evidence. To know that only 2 gargoyles have easy access to such weapons. To be one of those gargoyles, and to know Sarpling is the other. Bye. To wish you safe travels, human. Well, we gotta go talk to Sarpling again. Let's talk to Voidbrand again. And please be Voidbrand. He's already talking to... Yep, that's Voidbrand. He says nothing new, so I'll leave him be. And I completely forgot who to talk next. I don't even know where Quavin is. I'm getting a little confused here. Does a trainer say anything new? I guess we could talk to Sarpling next. Nope. That's not Sarpling, but you know what I mean. Let's go back to Sarpling, if I know who Sarpling is. I didn't even need to skip ahead. It's just right here. That's Sarpling. Altar conflicts. To know nothing about the altars, to wonder what... Let's just go back. Where is He's a member of the Fellowship, so I'm assuming he's in the Fellowship Hall, but I didn't see him. Just saw Runeb. Up here, nobody in here. That's Tyrgis, and just Runeb. Let's talk to him again. Talk to him. Nothing here, what the heck? Well, once I find out what to do, I guess I'll see you there. Ah, this is Quavin, we did talk to him. He works at the Learning Center. Fellowship. Organization. Share. Well-being. Needed. Another... convert. Betra, yeah, we already asked Betra about that. I'm a little confused. Just give me a minute here, though. Alright, go back to Sarpling's house, excuse me. We missed something. We gotta do a little bit of detective work. And by detective work, we gotta snoop at his personal belongings. So he's staring at the wall, which means we can sneak past him and go in here. And he's none the wiser. Let's check his dresser. It's got leather leggings and kidney belts. And he's got some gold. We won't take that, but we will read this scroll. This scroll says, to tell you the amount of explosives is quite adequate to destroy the altars, to remind you of the need for silence, and of the punishment it will help you avoid. Runeb. We will take this scroll. That implicates heavily right here. Look how full this is, my goodness. We just got a few towns left, by the way. We are getting closer and closer to finishing these fun little side quests. To give you greetings, human. Hey, I found a note. What can you explain? Can you explain yourself? A surprised expression mixed with fear covers his face. To be all Runeb's decisions. To be all Runeb's doing. To want nothing to do with the destruction of the altars, or with the assassination plot. Assassination plot, you say? To not already know about the plot, he wails. To have caused problems this time, Sarpling, he says to himself. To have brought much trouble. To tell you Runeb wanted to frame Quan for the altars. To kill Quan if plan failed. And to be in control of the Fellowship in Terfin. To be Runeb's goal. To be in much danger, you and me. You, guess he doesn't attack. And that's it. Experience? Not yet. I just remember Yana's 1233 experience. I got that mentally in my brain. It's an old game, so there's no visual indicator at leveling up like I'm playing Neo 2, like Neo 2 does that. You know how games nowadays have that fancy sound effect and visuals to spike your dopamine to make you want more and more. Let's talk to Quan. Oh. He says we can't really... There we go. Alright. We found a note by Sarpling. To be impossible for Runa to be responsible, he smiles kindly. To be a practical joke. Well, he wanted to assassinate you. To be too heinous of a plot for Runeb, he frowns. To be some kind of bad joke. He's not believing it. Let's talk to Runeb. Let's get close to him. To ask what you need, says Runeb. Yeah, so... Altar destruction. To be sorry you know that. To need now to kill Sarpling, he grins at you. To need now to kill you. At you! And he's dead. He's got a Fellowship Medallion, and that's it. Did we save nearby? Yes, we did. I want to choose the other dial option. I think it's the same thing. Didn't mean to close that, excuse me. You were going to frame Quan? To be sorry you know that. To need now to kill Sarpling, he grins at you. To need now to kill you. 2 arms, well... Black Sword, Arcadian, let's put this guy to death. I'm gonna see if it can be done outside combat, because I want the Avatar to do this. The Daemon Sword abruptly ceases its vibration. This being is hardly worth a death the likes of which I would visit upon it. Call upon me again, when thou art faced with a more worthy opponent. What a lazy bum, Arcadian. Come on, what do I pay you for? We don't pay him anything. None. Bye. Ah, that's you, again. That was easy. Already opened that, but yeah. He is dead. Rest in peace. Nothing here. We got... Looks like we got 50 points. But nobody leveled up yet. the main quest gives you all the experience points. I guess we'll go back to, let's actually talk to Quan again. And he's probably not going to say anything. Circling his notes. He's right there, he died. Come on. Come on. Well, Runeb is dead. Rest in peace. I think that concludes the quest. I'm gonna make sure to talk to these other gargoyles just in case. If I can click on them, that'd be great. Let me save again. He already... Yeah, we already don't need to talk to him. I guess we'll talk to... Draxon Newsom next. Excuse me. I think we concluded it. I think that's all we had to do. But, let's go over here. Let's talk to him through the walls. Nothing here. Just making sure. I think we finished, though. Right on time, too. It's almost an hour on my end. Not a whole lot of skipping ahead in this part, I don't think. Terfin's a rather small area. Job. Fellowship. Tergus. Terfin. Give up. Leaders. Runeb. To be gone, dead now. He actually reflects that. Neat. I'm going a bit too quickly, excuse me. I do that on purpose, or always, rather. That's it for that. Let's talk to, Tergus and see if he's doing any better. We just slain a gargoyle, and that basically it's just left at that. What time is it? 1:34? Is he still in here? He's probably on the other side. Close the doors. We're not barbarians here. Go. So I've returned. To be glad to see you again, human, says Tergus. To be welcome to the House of the Altars. To be helpful to you? Evidence? To have brought me something? Some evidence about the rumors? Yes. To be wonderful. To see it, please. You hand the note from Runeb that you found in Sarpling's shop. Ah, Runeb. To have suspected as much. To be always reaching for more by the most violent means, he sighs. To ask that you confront him with this evidence. To suggest that anything less will not reveal the truth. To be prepared for anything, please, human, for to know not how he will react. He shakes his head. To be not hopeful for a peaceful solution. To thank you for your assistance. And, bye. Back in, that's it. It concludes with, Runeb. Inamo. Oh. Yeah, he just goes through that conversation again. Actually, let's choose that all the way through. Anything new? Okay. To wish to know who was responsible for his dishonorable... Okay, never mind. I didn't even read that earlier. Let's go back to the ship. Next, we're going to go to... You know, this part really wasn't that long. Moonglow was the longest, but that's mostly because I did a little exploration at the caves. But in the next part, we'll go to the meditation retreat and hopefully do a little bit of exploration before going off to another town. I feel our trail is going to run cold at the meditation retreat, but we will see.